Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. My name is Chris Salem, your host, part of TALRadio. We are so excited each and every week. Again, the show continues to grow because of you, the listeners, and we keep bringing subject matter experts that come in to share their words of wisdoms and insights to help elevate your business and your personal brand to the next level. We are excited each and every week, again, listening to your questions that you send in each and every week, that we make sure that we find the right types of content that are going to align where you are in your business and how to elevate your brand and your business to the next level. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types, an opportunity to rekindle old relationships and perhaps meet new people for the first time. This is a membership program, meaning it takes all the noise out of social media, so you get to come in on your time to generate genuine and authentic relationships in ways that perhaps maybe lead you to your next job opportunity or perhaps a future business venture. They also have an athletes corner for professional athletes, an opportunity for them to align with other athletes that are in transition from coming from the professional sports arena into everyday life. This is a great way to align with other people doing the same to make the transition seamless and special. Feel free to reach out to them at alumnidirect.com for more information. And again, that's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about maximize employee performance. For those that work for organizations, particularly for HR, this is a special show for you. And this is going to be something that many organizations have these particular issues with, from retention, maybe ways to increase productivity, to increase efficiency. And you're going to be hearing from an individual today that is the president and co-founder of a company called Coefficient in the UK. And before I bring John Hibbs on, I'll give you a little background about him. He is a serial entrepreneur and an experienced businessman. He believes in achieving results in a win-win world. John believes businesses should be the force for good that helps businesses around the world capitalize on their amazing human talent. He likes to spend time thinking about the interconnections that form our work, communities, and lives, and these can be enhanced for the benefit of all. And without further ado, we welcome John Hibbs to the show. John, how are you doing today?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing fantastic. That was one of the best introductions I've ever had. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you and I have had an opportunity to talk on several occasions before.
Yeah.
We're on the show here. And I know, you're the co-founder and president of Coefficient, a company that measures organizational performance from the human perspective. And I really love how we connected on so many similarities of our upbringing to the values that we operate from. And I know today you're really going to bring a lot of value with what you're going to talk about, maximizing employee performance. But before we start, you've kind of really dedicated your career to this particular area, helping organizations to become more efficient, and this way Coefficient, because that's the name of your organization. Before we start, what led you up to this point to kind of go this route in your career and help organizations in this area?
Yeah, thanks. Good. Thanks, Chris. Good question. So, I mean, there's no easy answer to that, of course, because life is complicated and has twists and turns. But to keep it a high level, I suppose I was really lucky. So I started my first business when I was in my early 20s, and of course, I was young and green and didn't know what I was doing. And I was fortunate enough to meet a business coach by a guy of the name of Les Callis, who was just the coolest guy I'd ever met. And we still work together now. He's fantastic. And he taught me pretty much everything I know about business. And what he did really cleverly is he would model things. So businesses on the one level are very, very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. But on another level, contextually, they're very simple. So he would break down the complicated aspects of a business and just make very, very simple models, which I could understand and I can share with others. So that's kind of where I started. And then we were working together in businesses, and just by accident one day over a period of time, we ran a small business. There was about sort of maybe 12, 13 employees. And for a period of about 2 years, those employees, it was just an amazing team. It felt like going to work with your brothers and your sisters. Everybody got on. Of course, we made mistakes, because that's kind of what happens with human beings. But the mistakes weren't big. And when we made mistakes, there was no blame. We fixed them easily. And because I was in charge of monitoring the performance of this business at the time, what I came to find was actually client complaints went down. Our improvement and our efficiency was going up. And the money just seemed to kind of flow in without struggling for it. And at other times in the same business where we didn't have this team, for one reason or another, people come and go. We didn't have such a great team. It didn't feel like you were getting up and going to work with your brothers and your sisters. When mistakes happened, there was maybe a little bit of blame going on. And I noticed client complaints went up. The efficiency dropped down. The money didn't seem to roll in so easily. And I became, at that point, sort of acutely aware of the power of the people in a company. And it's about this time that I created the Monergy Flow, which is my business model that I've sort of used since then, and has kind of informed the rest of my life. And I've got a screen share if you'd like to see it, Chris.
Yes, please do. We love to see the screen, especially for the visual listeners here that watch it on YouTube. And again, those that listen on TALRadio, Spotify, and Apple, again, John will be going through this, so this way he'll probably kind of give you a visual from what he's sharing here verbally. So
here's, you can see my screen, I hope, Chris.
Yes.
And, okay, so this is a very, very simple business model, but it's incorporates quite a lot of nuance and complexity. But basically what it says is, if you want an outcome, and in business I've represented that with a dollar sign, you want to make some money. And it's absolutely right that as a business you make money, because if you make some cash, you are sustainable. You can pay your staff, which is a huge plus. And of course, when you pay a member of staff, you're not just paying one person, you're more likely actually enabling a family to survive. So it's hugely important. And then the other thing that I think a lot of people forget is, if you make money, you can pay taxes. And what an amazing privilege that is, to pay some taxes. The unwritten rule that nobody talks about, which I think is a shame, is that there's a relationship between business and government. And the relationship is this: business will make all the wealth. We'll create all the money in the world. Government, please, will you provide an environment for us to flourish and to thrive? And we can have an argument, a long argument, no doubt, about whether government's keeping up their end of the bargain or not. But that's really what the relationship should be. So I'm very happy to pay some taxes to a government to educate my employees and future employees, keep them healthy, provide all the infrastructure to allow me to operate. But money doesn't just turn up. I mean, you've been in business a long time as well. You know, it doesn't just turn up. If it did, it would be easy. There's always a chain of events that come before the money. So to make some money, you have to sell something, and that's the S there. You've got to sell something to somebody. Usually people think it's a product or service. I think these days, though, we've got to start thinking about both products and services more in terms of experience.
Yes.
What we're buying or what we're selling are our experiences. To allow people to know that you have something to sell, you've got to tell them, and that's marketing. That's marketing. Now, I give this talk all over the place, and I give it to schools sometimes. And a few years ago now, I gave this to a bunch of 11-year-olds, and I was concerned that the kids might not know what marketing meant. So I asked them, and this one little girl put her hand up and very confidently said, I know exactly what marketing is. It's being able to say, hello, here I am. And I thought that was the best definition of marketing I'd ever heard. So I've stolen her genius and I've plugged it into my model, because if you think about marketing and selling stuff, it's about relationships. It's not transactional.
Yeah.
Transactional relationships are not deep, because the moment you can find a cheaper seller somewhere, you're switching. But Chris, if I can stand on the street and say, "Hi, I'm John. This is what I believe in. This is what I stand for. These are my values," and you're walking past and you share the same values as me, you'll come over for a chat. And now, you're not only a customer, but you're also an ambassador, and they're really powerful. The best businesses in the world realize this, and this is why they create brands. B stands for brands. And the brand is just the personality and the values and the principles of the business. But it's not really the principles and values of the business, because businesses can't have that. It's the humans behind the business that have these values and these principles. So what you need to do, if you want an outcome, which is cash, you need to start at the other end of the chain of events, and that start is always humans. So have some humans around a shared purpose. Then you've got a really good brand. Then you've got great marketing, and when you stand on the street and say, "Hi, this is us," it's clear who you are, and you're attracting the right sort of client to you. Then you can sell more stuff to more people who want to buy from you, and you make more money. Now, I think you should reinvest your surplus back into the start of the chain of events, which are your humans. So N stands for nurture. You want to nurture your staff, nurture your humans. C stands for connections, and interpersonal connections and human connections is great. So you and me having this chat now is wonderful. But people also need connections to purpose in their life, and to a secure future, and to meaningful work. And of course, love, because as human being, anyone who's ever been in love knows just how wonderful that feeling can be. And we love to give love, and we love to receive love. So plug that back into the start of the chain of events, and you've got even better, happier, more secure humans, clearer brand, better marketing, sell even more stuff, make even more money, and round you go, and spiral up we go. The added benefit of this model is, if you work for an organization like that, you are much more likely to be a happy human, and happy humans go home at the end of every day to their families and create happy families, and lots of happy families become happy communities, which is a very place, Chris, you and I, we live in communities. Yeah. And it's also the place we go to get our employees. So that's my Monergy Flow, subtitled actually, How to Make More Money, Surround Yourself with People You Love, and Make the World a Better Place.
Wow. It's fabulous. Great share. I love the flow chart, and I just love how it's just so simple to follow. And I agree. And I'm sure that the listeners that are watching this, that will be watching this on YouTube, will also can see the value in this flow chart that you have. Great.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you could talk a little bit about John, a little bit about what can companies be doing, based upon what you shared, to better maximize their employee performance, based upon what you shared. Anything that you can elaborate further that will help them, no matter what size they are, whether if they're a small business or a mid-sized company, Fortune 500 company, either way.
I think the number one thing is just the realization of just how important your people are. I mean, they really are probably the greatest wealth creation opportunity that any business has. So that's number one. The Monergy Flow really led us. It was a starting point for starting Coefficient, because if you have a look at Gallup, it's amazing. 79% of employees are disengaged at work. That number is just way too high. If you think about it, that's 4 out of every 5 employees are turning up for work for a salary, for a job they don't like, or for a boss they don't like. That's bad for business. So businesses want engaged employees because they're more productive. They turn up to work, they're happy to be there, and they do a better job. What Coefficient does is it provides a fundamental understanding of your business performance, but from the perspective of the employee. So you as a business owner, you'll have a gut feeling, you'll have management information, you'll look at your finances or what have you. what Coefficient does is it gives you another layer of information, but from your staff's perspective. It allows them to give you some feedback. It allows you to engage with them. A lot of your staff want to do a great job. They want to turn up and improve the business. It's something they believe in. So give them a voice to do it. Yeah.
No, I love that. So what would be some of the things that would, if I'm a listener right now, John, I'm a small business owner. Maybe perhaps I'm the head of HR in a mid-sized company. What would be the first steps? I'm sure like on some level, in companies, they've investigated certain types of resources, but have they taken action? Have they been accountable? What would you say is that first step leading them in the right direction that can then lend itself to something where they can be accountable and something that can start to move them in the right direction to make them more efficient, perform at a higher level, increase retention, less absenteeism, all of the above that could be the byproduct of maximizing in performance?
So from a company point of view, measurement is key. Like, it's hard to improve things you can't measure because you don't know where you were or where you were 6 months ago or where you're going in the future. So Coefficient provides that level of data understanding and metrics. Coefficient is actually just a data analytics tool. It's a thermometer. It's a diagnostics tool. Every business is different and nuanced. And so one of the powerful things about Coefficient is we usually only work through business consultants. And we work with business consultants and the business to analyze their results together and bespoke the actions for each individual firm. There's lots of gurus out there, Chris, who stand on stage with loads of followers and tell you exactly how to make your business better. But one size doesn't fit all, does it?
No, absolutely not.
There's different businesses, different industries, different cultures, so much. So we never felt too comfortable with being a guru type company. We're a young company, as you know. We're less than a year old, but we are fascinated with the data. And when the data puts us or directs us in a certain direction, then we'll be telling you what the data is telling us about learning what's the best thing to do with the business. But until the data gives us any real evidence, we are just going to provide analytics for now.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, the data, when you start to accumulate the data and it starts to compound, numbers don't lie. So once where you're at, and you got a foundation or your base point to now track where you are and where you're going. So if you were tracking it, would this be something that you're tracking daily, John, weekly, monthly, quarterly?
So at the moment, we recommend firms do this 3 times a year. But again, organizations have different rhythms. Yeah. So it's set up to suit you.
Yep.
We're in the process of modularizing the survey. So it could be a case of, you do the whole survey once a year, and then areas of concern, you can do them in quarter 3, quarter 4, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it.
We have a wonderful mental health module. Now, governments are actually saying now and recommending to firms to routinely measure staff well-being, mental well-being and mental health. So that would be a wonderful survey to do maybe more regularly.
Yeah, I think right now, because that's a big area right now, even during COVID and even post-COVID, avoiding job burnout, resiliency, and stress reduction.
Yeah,
all 3 big
and we're seeing, the working from home is massive now. It's much harder to kind of keep an eye on your staff if they're not in the office, if they're not coming in every day. You just don't get that kind of banter interaction or these subtle messages working their way through the organization. And working from home can make you feel lonely, and that has an effect on your mental well-being. So, and another thing that we're planning to do in the future is actually to switch it from a survey that the company does once or twice or 3 times a year into a continual engagement type model, so that we can actually provide real-time data with 1 or 2 questions a day going out to staff, and we're quite excited about building that.
Wow, that's fabulous. Love it. Anything else that you would like to share? Because I know, there is so much information. I mean, this could easily be an hour, if not longer show, because you have so
Yeah.
much information. What would be something that would you recommend now to organizations that this is a serious area right now, and discuss how valuable these types of tools are, these resources that with the technology that could allow them really to give them a wealth of information to at least point them in the direction and the areas they can improve.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And so if you look at any data, you do any sort of research at all, and you don't need to go deep, just scratch the surface. Mental health, as we've just discussed, is a big issue. That's costing firms £1,700, $1,700, sorry, a year per employee. I mean, that's a massive cost, right? Straight off the bat. Staff retention is huge, because every time you lose a member of staff, if they're unhappy at work, they're much more likely to exit one way or another. Every time you lose a member of staff, that's costing you between 50 and 150% of their salary to replace them. And people don't think about these huge costs and the ripple effects. But you've got to recruit somebody. You need to put someone in charge of recruiting the new people. You've got to onboard them. You've got to certify them. You've got to train them. You've got the whole cultural getting to know the new member of staff, and all the knowledge and possibly clients that the old member of staff has taken with them. And the costs are phenomenal. There's one study that says every time you lose a member of staff, it costs you at least $30,000 to replace them.
Wow.
So when you use a low-cost online intervention tool like Coefficient, and I'll be honest, there's loads of others out there. You don't have to choose Coefficient. There are others out there. I think we're the best there, Chris. And it's almost a bit of a no-brainer. So if you can do anything to just even save one or two people from leaving, I mean, you saved $60,000.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's just amazing how much that we can make improvements by just taking that first step, or just recognizing and doing just, something each day that's going to help move us in the right direction. And when we have tools like the one that the company you've started with, Coefficient, it just makes that possible.
Yeah. And it also gives your employees a voice. So I've discovered that employees want to tell you how to improve things, but sometimes they don't want to speak up. They're nervous about sounding silly, and we're leaving amazing ideas hidden. Well, Coefficient's all completely anonymous, so they can say whatever they like with sort of complete safety.
Yeah.
So we're giving, it's a platform for staff to really say what they're thinking, and to make those suggestions to management that otherwise they would go unnoticed.
Absolutely, because people are worried about if they say the wrong thing, they could be fired, but this way they can do it anonymously and really speak their truth. So true.
Yeah. And you're right, but not as catastrophic as fire. People don't want to say the wrong thing in case they're made fun of.
Yeah, not so true.
Yeah.
But John, this has been great. I mean, you've shared so much information here of so much value, and I know we're going to have you back on again for a future show. This is only part one of maximize your employee performance. So we got a lot more to share in a future show. How can people get to know you and Coefficient in the best place that they can reach you?
Okay, so you can either look me up on LinkedIn. I think, Chris, you've got my
yes, I do.
social media stuff there.
And the notes.
We go and have a look at our website, the very catchily titled coefficient/solutions.com. And I would love to talk to you. I love meeting people who are in business, and let's just have a chat. So LinkedIn page for me. I've got a calendar link there. Just click on that, and it'd be good fun.
Wow. Well, John, thank you so much taking time out of your busy afternoon in the UK. Thank you so much for being here. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we're committed to bringing in subject matter experts like John, sharing their words of wisdoms and insights to help elevate your business and your brand to the next level. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.